rebooting. Here, you need this. I have the whole pack.
Just to be able to read it off.
Oh, to be able to read the,
the resolution.
if you need me to read them, just let me know, because the first couple are gonna be pretty simple.
Yeah, I'll use it off the Sal's while this thing's booting.
Can you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and good evening. It is Tuesday, October 28th. It's a little after 7:30. We just came from executive session where we discussed a planning board appointment. We're going to move right into our resolutions. We're going to start resolution number 1. Sorry, considering the appointment of a park groundskeeper. Do you need?
I'm borrowing Sal's for now.
Okay.
Now therefore be it resolved that Anthony Orlando of 26 Conley Avenue is hereby appointed to the position of Parks Groundkeeper with the Village of Rybrook, subject to the civil service proceedings of the State of New York, and be it further resolved that the annual salary is $63,908 with an effective start date of November 17th, 2025.
Thank you, Greg. Can I have a motion and second, please?
Second.
All right. Well, I see we have no one here for that. So, but it's nice seeing everyone here. Certainly well deserved. I know that we had discussed this. We're very excited to have you coming aboard. And any questions or comments from the board?
No, congratulations.
I agree with you that it's great to have them on.
Yeah.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino?
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes. Thank you. Congratulations. And we know you're going to do great things there. It's and already have been. It's and elsewhere. We take a lot of pride in what the village staff is able to do in all aspects of the community. Certainly, this is no different. I'm sure we'll see you at a lot of community events, just as I'm sure they saw you there at Crawford, and so we're very excited. So, congratulations.
Do you want to explain that his very first duty is to stay for the rest of the meeting?
Yes, thankfully.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that. We do, but yeah. So congratulations.
Anthony,
all right, we're gonna go a little out of order here,
wait.
and
want to ask Anthony, do you want to come up and say anything? Nope, you don't have to, but. No.
hopefully lots of events, but not eventful.
Anthony, can you just stay up? I just want to get Chris.
Nobody?
No.
Surely somebody must be proud of him.
Congratulations again.
Congratulations. All right, we're gonna go a little out of order for our next one. For resolution number 11, considering an appointment to the planning board. Oh, here, I'll just say it. Now therefore be it resolved that Kevin Branch of 279 Newton Ave is hereby appointed to the planning board for the term ending on the first Monday of April, 2030. Could I have a motion and second, please?
Motion.
Second.
All right, any questions or comments?
I was one of several people to interview Kevin this morning or this afternoon, whenever it was, and I endorse him 1,000%, not even 100.
All right, well, we certainly, go ahead.
No, I was going to say several of us on this board came from the planning board, and I enjoyed my time there very much. Hopefully you will too. It's a great way to serve the village, and as a fellow engineer, I also applaud your service, because it's great to have people from all walks of life, but certainly engineers are one of them that's helpful on the planning board.
And as a lawyer, I disagree with him.
That's fun.
No, but we really appreciate your willingness to serve on a community board. I always found my time on the boards, and this one included, to be very rewarding. I'm sure you will as well, and I also want to just say thank you to your service for our country.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other
Congratulations.
questions or comments?
Trustee Heiser,
Yes.
Trustee Crom,
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're good.
Kevin, thank you.
All right, resolution number 2, considering an appeal of a tree permit, removal denial at 37 Tamarack Road.
Whereas Kelly and Alessio Colasino of 37 Tamarack Road applied for a tree removal permit for one white oak tree, and whereas the Superintendent of Public Works and tree arborist Michael Nowak denied a tree removal permit for the removal of this tree, and whereas Kelly and Alessio Colasino have appealed the denial in the email written on October 14th, 2025, and whereas under Section 235-14 of the Village of Rybrook Village Code, the village board shall hear any appeal brought in accordance with Section 235-13D within 45 days of the submission of the appeal. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rybrook hereby either approves or denies the tree removal appeal conditioned on the revision of the replanting plan to include an assortment of trees subject to approval by Michael Nowak as per Section 235-18A of the Village Code.
Thank you, and we hold off on any motion or second until we know what we're doing. So I believe our the residents here,
We do. Yep.
please. Yeah, and if you could just introduce yourself and state your address. Just for the record.
You just speak into the mic.
Yeah,
so
and
it
if you
captures.
kind of,
You
you can move it
it.
around how you need to.
Yes.
Just don't break it.
My name is Kelly. This is,
I'm Alessio Colatino, my husband.
all right, we're at 37 Tamarack. We're actually also here with our neighbor. This is Eric Newman at 39 Tamarack. We actually filed for this permit jointly. I'm not entirely sure what to, I don't want to bore you. I know we provided an email. I don't know if everybody got a chance to review that, or I can summarize it.
I can't speak for everyone else. I can say that I certainly read the email and a lot of the other backup materials.
Okay. So just to summarize for, I guess, the record, we requested the removal of the tree that is between our two properties. It is stated an oak. It is within 10 feet of both of our properties. And we feel that we are within code to get that approval, which is why we're here. We feel that it does endanger health, safety, and welfare. We realize that it is a healthy tree, but its location and its overhanging is over both homes. There's nowhere to go other than down on both of our bedroom roofs of both houses, as well as the root system. It is a large tree with a giant canopy, which means that its root system is 2 to 4 times the size of that canopy, which, due to the restricted area between the houses, will almost guarantee impact on foundation. Additionally, I never know how to say this, but section 4, it says causes undue hardship for property owner to maintain it. Due to aphid infestation on the tree, we realize that white oaks do not provide sap, but anything on the oak can cause sap. We have solar panels, which have to be professionally cleaned due to that sap, which is upwards of $3,000 a year. It impacts the effectiveness of those solar panels, which is another financial implication. To say nothing of the fact of the projectiles that have already broken a piece off of the solar panels, which there's a picture in there if you need it. And then on section 235.13D, have that anything, a favorable consideration should be for a tree that is within 10 feet of a residential dwelling, and shows visible signs of structural integrity being compromised by the existence of the tree. There are cracks within the foundation, and there is upheaval of the pavers on the side of our home. While we realize, again, it's a tree, it's a beautiful tree, but it is impacting two homes, not just ours, and there's no place for this to go. It's only gonna get wider and bigger, and so we are here.
Well, thank you. We did have our village arborist take a look. Michael, do you have anything that you want to add?
Yeah,
You can sit down.
Yeah, you can say, yeah.
that's it. Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. I visited the property and did a visual inspection, and then I subsequently met with Mr. Colosino to see the structural damage, which was documented in the appeal. So I wanted to see the cracks in the foundation wall, and I want to see the cracks within the garage. From an arborist perspective, the code has guidance and recommendations on what should receive favorable recommendation, what should not. Some of that is up to professional judgment. As an arborist, I do agree with the arborist report that was provided by Mr. Vega from the Davie Tree Service. Nothing in that report is any different than what I was basing the tree on. With regards to aphids, we deal with Mother Nature. We deal with emerald ash borer, we deal with Asian longhorn beetle, we deal with mites, we deal with spotted lanternfly, which people love or hate. So it's Mother Nature, it's life, it's what trees are. And there really isn't any tree that is not infected or infested by some mites or gnats or whatever. So in reviewing the tree, as is mentioned by Mr. Vega, the structural integrity does not warrant any action. The crown of the tree, the overall condition of the tree is healthy. The compartmentalization of the tree is appropriate for the species, the age. And, for me as an arborist to approve a tree that is perfectly healthy is a very hard decision. The Public Works Department issued so far this year in 2025 70 tree permits. This is the second of 3 denials that have been issued in 2025. So, I try to work with people as best as I can, and try to be as reasonable as I can, but once in a while you run across a situation where you have a tree that basically strikes a impasse. This is one of those trees. The structural impacts onto the house, there's a walkway on the left side which is pictured in the appeal document. It's like a brick walkway, or like a paver walkway. There's some slight impacts from the roots, but nothing severely major, as is noted in the arborist report. The block foundation wall, it is a concrete masonry block wall. There is some cracking, and the crack that is depicted in this image is from the corner of a window in the basement or garage area of the house. The crack that's referenced within the garage is a longitudinal crack the full width of the garage, which meets at the foundation wall. Foundation wall at that location does not have any vertical cracking up the wall. Okay, so the crack you see in the picture on the exterior of the wall does not radiate to the interior side of the garage and does not transverse down into the slab of the concrete. It's not untypical for concrete foundations to have a step crack or a stress crack, the same way concrete, it's not untypical to have a settlement crack or a heaving crack due to weather conditions. But based on the arborist report that was submitted, I do not disagree with that arborist report. It is basically the same, result and findings of what I found out in the field. And as a result, that's why the permit was denied. Under the code, the applicants do have the right to appeal, and we spoke about that, and that's why we are here. So if the board decides to move one way or another, that will be the board's decision.
Thank you, Michael. You know, and certainly this is something we take very seriously. I think, you know, there's a lot of ways that we look at this. Yeah, please. A lot of ways that we look at this. Being a tree city, we do hold our trees very valuable in this area. And, you know, but I would also say that, you know, none of us sitting up here, unless they're hiding something from me, no one here is an expert in trees, you know, or claims to be an arborist, which is why we rely very heavily on our arborists and the experts. And a lot of times when people come in and are seeking, to have the denial overturned and appealing to us, a lot of times we'll say to people, all right, well, the first thing you should do is go out and get your own arborist to come take a look. In this case, you've done that, and that arborist has said that the tree is perfectly healthy.
So our argument is not that it's healthy. Our argument is the fact that it is existing within 10 feet of 2 residential structures, which is part of the code that should receive favorable consideration. And considering the fact that this tree is only going to grow taller and wider in a confined space, we're kicking a problem down the road. And we cannot plausibly, with 100% certainty, say that the cracks that he's referenced are not a part of a root system problem. You can't say it any more than you could say that it possibly is, possibly isn't. But we do know the size of the canopy, we do know the extent of the root system, and we do know that it's a restricted area. We also know that while you cannot take a tree down for safety in general, this particular tree and its location, there is zero trajectory. There's a zero, it's like, the airline industry. You have no room for failure. In this area, in this particular location, any limb that falls will hit something. We're not talking about something in my backyard that I'm saying, I'm nervous, oh no. We're talking about something between 2 homes that has no trajectory, that has a safe landing. Additionally, if you're talking about the arborist idea, right? We want to talk about the balance of the trees. I took a walk around our neighborhood, and I'm not unknown to gardening, I'm not unknown to trees. I know what's in my yard and in my home. I know the fact that when I stand in my backyard and I look around at the 6 or the 5 abutting yards, there are 9 oak trees. They're not all white oaks, they're red oaks, they're different varieties of oaks, but there are 9 of them. Within our neighbor's backyard, he has 2, they're beautiful. He has a beech and an oak. We're not taking away something that has no other aspect in the neighborhood. We're taking away something that is beautiful, but is a big safety concern. And to be quite honest, if this tree was located near enough to my house, but I wanted to put an extension on my house, I would probably get favorable consideration for removing it in order to allow me to expand my structure. But how come I can remove a tree to expand my structure, but I can't remove the tree to preserve it? There is nowhere for it to go to be safe.
One point you're missing, right? What the point that affects me the most as a light sleeper is the 2 months of the year when I wake up every night to, and I don't know if anybody has an oak tree close to their house, but it is like you being woken up, like it's very, very loud. I had to resort to earplugs to sleep, and didn't work at all. And one night I got up and I went to the bathroom, and she's a heavy sleeper, she was up. So it's the proximity between and being right over the dormitories on both sides is what caused that problem. Right? I went to work numerous times exhausted because I was up all night trying to fall back asleep. And each time I fell back asleep, the acorns kept hitting and hitting.
They're
and hitting.
projectile.
It is, the first year I was like, well, okay, this was after we've done extensive trimming, like we've tried everything to mitigate the right way, not you just go up there and just, you know.
We did healthy cuts, we ensured that we had an arborist, we did it the right way. This is now year 3 of us living in this home. This is not a livable situation.
And just to be clear, we moved away from Merrimack because we were living in a situation of noise. So we came from an apartment where our downstairs neighbors constantly made noise all night. And eventually I said, I gotta get out of this. We need
This
to
is
move.
worse.
We need to get out. But this is louder than my downstairs neighbor making noise at all nights of the hour. You know, that was just a whole different problem. But this was one of the reasons why we moved into this beautiful neighborhood. But I didn't, you know, for me, it's the noise that's the big problem. You know, everything else, to be honest, is top of it, right? The addition, you know, it's beyond your usual financial maintenance of the tree.
And also considering financial burden and undue, right? So we've talked about concern about root system. Our insurance company has already told us they would never cover foundational damage from the root system. We've been denied by a national cover carrier because of that tree. They took one look at it from satellite and said, oh, no. And then, they won't tell you this, but I'm sure our premiums are higher, but they would never admit to it. So you're asking us, and we're obviously in love with, we are interested in the environment. We have solar panels on our home. We're trying to, you know, carbon footprint and all these things, but the efficacy of our solar panels are impeded by this layer of sap and the things that we're doing. So we have multiple pieces that really should be considered.
One more example from my side. So I called the cleaning company for the solar panels, and they said, yeah, the cleaning is, you know, X, Y, and Z. And then I told him about the sap, and he said, yeah, I'm sorry, it was going to be double. Because one, we have to clean it once, and then clean the sap off of it, because that's, you know, he said it's going to be very hard to remove that without actually going up there and scrubbing every single panel by itself. So my perspective is, you know, my mental health, right? I'm trying to go to work the next day, and you know, I have a long commute, and with sometimes 2 or 3 hours of sleep, or just being woken up all the time, that's a hard thing to do. And also from a financial perspective, right? I don't know if this is a good example, but it's almost like I've been given, I wanted Toyota, but I've been given, you know, a fancy car, and now I have to deal with the cost of the maintenance of that car that I wasn't, that I can't afford. Like, I can't afford the regular maintenance of the tree if it would be far away from my property, right? That, you know, and you do the necessary trimming. But with a tree like that, as you can see from the arborist report, it's fairly clear that you shouldn't touch it, right? So I'm literally, my hands are tied.
We're
I
out
can't
of
do,
options.
I can't really do anything about the acorns because, you know, as the reports from Davey says. And then from the roots perspective, right? So Paul, what's his name? Paul Vega from Davies, and Bartlett was the other company which came out. So I had 2 come out because I wanted to talk to both of them about the tree, and both said from a visual inspection that's a healthy tree, which I wasn't really disagreeing with, right? He also said, you know, you don't necessarily need to do a tree risk assessment because you're wasting your money. But the one company said if you want a report, you need to pay. Like the Bartlett guys, they said we want $900 if you want just an assessment or a letter from us. But he agreed with the you know the roots that's you know these cracks in the foundation and from that you can see on the wall can be from the tree, and both certified arborists said the same thing. So in summary, from my perspective, if you look at the code, there's 7 points that should receive considerable what's it called? Out of the 7 points, we hit 4 of them, right? It's not like, you know, oh, we just want to remove the tree, you know. I think in this case it's quite specific to the location, right? You can have a tree close by, but we're talking about dormitories on both sides. So it is, you know, it's not your usual case where it's just, oh, it's a healthy tree. You know, it's not, you know, it's not that. It's, you know, we did a lot of research. We're not just here because, you know, we want to stay, you know, and enjoy you know, our house, but this is just a burden to the degree where I didn't think it would be.
So a couple of comments from my end, and then I'm going to open it up to the board. Again, we rely heavily on the experts, and the experts saying this is a healthy tree. It's clearly well maintained. After, reading a lot of the material, because there's two actually appeals on the agenda tonight, which is unusual for us to have two, but I went out and measured because I have a very large, it's a willow oak. It's a double trunked actually, which makes it a little less stable than this nice oak that you have here. It's 14 feet from my bedroom, so from the side of my house, 14 feet, and it's 8 feet from my neighbors, and it's above their kid's bedroom. And we've had it inspected. We get it. I pay to get it pruned, and it's there, and we understand that it's there. I certainly understand what you're going through, and I understand this. My personal opinion is that it's a healthy tree, and so I want it to stay. But I'm open to hearing this from other comments from the board.
I was going to say, because of some experiences I've had with trees, I'm not exactly a tree lover. I guess it was 2012,
Something like that.
something like that, a tree hit my house, and my late wife and I were in a hotel for 11 months while they were repairing our house. About 10 years later, another tree hit our house, minimal damage this time. So I am not without sympathy. And I must tell you, after the first experience, I understand an inability to sleep. Whenever there are high winds, I worry that, gee, another tree is going to hit my house because I have an awful lot of trees around my house. And if I lived elsewhere, maybe I'd say I'd like to pretty much knock them all down and pave my entire backyard, which is how I grew up in Manhattan. But I don't. I live with the fact that I am nervous at certain times of the year. And as I say, I am not a tree person because I didn't grow up with trees.
So I would venture to say one thing to both of those, and I agree. I love trees. I would be considered a tree hugger. I love my tupelo in my backyard because it's a rare and native tree, and I do my best to make sure it's healthy and beautiful. But this tree is already, it's not just 14 feet or 8 feet. This is 7 feet from his and 8 feet from mine, and it's only going to get closer. It is a narrow between two space, right? It's physics-wise. You need to be, there's nowhere for it to go, and it will only get bigger, so it's a consideration.
All I was just going to say is that as an attorney, I have absolutely no knowledge about trees. And so, as the mayor pointed out, I have to rely on what the experts say.
And I think what we're...
And I'm not hearing an expert say, we agree with you. Which is not to say
But they have
that
said
you're
it's
wrong.
plausible that what's going on with foundation, right? And no one is arguing that the tree is unhealthy. We understand it's healthy. And there is precedent for removing trees that are close. I think there was 4 trees that were removed in 2022 because of how close they were to the house. And again, it's because of its location and proximity, which is in the code. It's not because it's healthy or unhealthy, it's because of how close it is to the foundation walls.
I hate this. I mean, we're all volunteers. We all want to help our neighbors. And here I'm on like a tree jury, which I really don't like. It's a beautiful tree. As I look at the pictures, I mean, I would say if it was just me, I'd probably let you take it down. But
And again, there's
because there's a lot of other trees, nice trees, but what some of my other colleagues on the board have said, we're sworn to uphold the law. We have a very extensive tree law that goes back decades. It lays out a very sort of complicated process. And not to get too legalistic, because I'm not a lawyer, but the proximity, if it's you need an and, sort of, it's close and something else is really dangerous about it. And you don't have anything in the file. Like, I would say if you came back with another tree expert that said it really is a danger to, a dangerous situation, then I would perhaps change my mind. But right now, all we have is sort of the proximity argument. And that's, per the code, really not enough.
You don't think that, well, mental health, right? There is on the arborist report, there's that north side of the limb. We've been told that we can't take anything else off the tree. There's precedent, and more than I realize, none of it knocks it out of the park. No one's gonna be able to stand there and say, wow, this tree is sick, we gotta take it down. But,
Yeah, no, I just talk about the health, right? This is not, as we said, this is not about the health, but you read through the code, in no section does it say, no healthy tree shall ever be removed, right? I mean, just going back to it, right, I understand, it is a significant tree, right? So this, I understand correctly, we're standing here because it is a large tree, not because it's healthy or unhealthy. Healthy or, this is why we're here, but if we look at all the, I read through the code too many times, I still stand firm with that we're checking those boxes. When you're saying, that, that it is within 10 feet, or 7 feet, and 8 feet, and there are signs of, cracks, which there are, right, so that's that. We're talking about, the financial burden, we're talking about financial
the
health.
property owner,
Yeah, I mean,
we're getting multiple pieces of this code.
nobody's,
And not one place here says it has to be sick to remove it.
But we have, in a sense, testimony from our highway superintendent, who's a manager, I'm not sure the title, but he's not only an arborist, he's a, somewhat of an expert on structural pavements and things like that. He's just given testimony that he doesn't think that it's a definite cause of concern from the tree. Like, again, if you had an engineer coming in and saying, hey, listen, we've looked at it, and I can tell you I've seen 10 of these, and this is definitely X, Y, Z.
So,
But in the arborist report from Davey, it says that it's plausible that it could.
It said it was possible. It was very, I read all the things. It said it's possible, but also maybe, it said maybe, maybe not, right?
possible.
Possible. We have testimony from Michael saying, I don't think so. In terms of the way the roots grow and the way the cracks are in the wall.
The other piece you were talking about when it comes to very strict things and talking about urban planning and things like that. You have a 10, 20, 30 rule. We have oaks all over the place. We're not talking about taking the single one environmental pillar of an area.
Right.
These are part of the things.
But then also what weighs on my mind is we have a precedent, like for instance, a month or two ago, someone came in with a similar situation that we didn't cross all the thresholds and we had to say no.
They didn't have the arborist report. They didn't-
So
Okay,
you,
well, this arborist
Okay.
report, though, says that it's a healthy tree
Right.
and really should, it gives recommendations on what to do to manage the tree. So it talks about the air spade, it talks about trimming the branches, it talks about, the normal care. This is, in regards to the solar panels were put on, this tree existed when the solar panels were put on.
But it was-
So, and we certainly understand the stress that this tree may cause you. But like Trustee Crum was saying, it's really a matter of us abiding by our code. Now, I do want to hear from Trustee Morlino, who I think may have a different opinion.
okay.
I do. First of all, I am actually a certified tree steward.
Tree steward,
Yeah, which is this next step next to be arborist.
okay.
And I've issued 80 tree permits in the municipality I work for. That's one of my jobs there. And believe it or not, how's that? And I see trees like this all the time, close to homes, and it does scare me. And quite frankly, I'm in favor of having this tree removed. I think it makes a lot of sense. So I differ from my colleagues here as to this tree staying. I think it should be removed. I think it's too close to the house. I'm not concerned. I don't think it's going to die, but I just think the fact that the tree is so close to the houses, it just raises havoc on the structure in terms of wear and tear and maintenance on your house and leaves in the gutters and cleaning the gutters and the whole mess. I think and I think there's a power line next to there too, if I'm not mistaken. That's your power line. Yes, I did see that as well.
And may I say something about, we also suggested, whatever we're planting,
Yeah, and
it's not
the
like we're like, let's just
Right.
plant a tree because I don't
and
want
and I think the code does say something. We have to plant 2 trees, right? If this tree comes
Well, it
down.
depends on the DBH of the tree.
Yeah, and it is big enough to where you 2 trees, right? Yeah. So you would be planting 2 other trees, which would be nice.
May I say also something about that case you just referenced? That case was significantly different. And you might not think that it's significantly, but one, there was not dormitories on both sides. It was a garage on one side, besides the fact that he planted false evidence. Let's not go there, but in that case, that was quite different. It also was a much larger tree. It was 40% larger than this tree. So, different situation. I'm saying this, I haven't even mentioned my daughter in this case, and she's still a child. If anything would happen on that side of the tree, it could be another sandy or whatever, and a bigger branch falls onto that side of this side, whatever side of the house, it will fall on the house, there's no question. If his house or my house, doesn't matter, right? Yeah, financial burden, yeah, sure, that's a whole other story, because, we don't have an unlimited budget, right? When I got these quotes from the solar company, the cleaning company, I was like, are you nuts? Now I have to pay twice as much. And then I thought, okay, but I'm pro-tree, so I was like, okay, let me think, what about the aphids, what can we do? So I spoke to Paul Vega, I said, Paul, what can I do? And he said, well, you could do this and that, you could do injections in the tree, but that affects other organisms on the tree, and it's not given that will actually work as much as you would believe it should to actually reduce the aphids. As much as I love cleaning my car, cleaning sap off a car, I need Q-tips to get in all the crevices. It takes me a solid hour to clean that off. I park my car as far away as I can from the tree, but I can't park it any farther unless I want to park it on the street. That's why I'm saying, just in comparison to this other case, this is a completely different case, but it's quite a different case because they might have filed jointly, but we're filing jointly. We have the same concerns, but when I came here, I didn't realize that I had to pay 20% more in taxes basically because of that tree, above and beyond the regular maintenance. So and why am I talking so much? Because I strongly believe that we have a more solid case than most people have. We're not here because we just want to get rid of the tree and that's it, right? And my last point that I'm trying to make in terms of CO2 emissions, those panels, if I didn't want to put these articles into the whole package, but I have 3 separate articles writing it that the one panel by itself and does reduce emissions like 10 trees would, right? And it's we've gone green. I have a hybrid. I have solar panels. I try everything to do for nature. Kelly has created a new garden bed in the front. In the back, and she's planning to put in another one. So and then Eric has put in 27. A lot. I understand that arborvitaes cannot be compared to the power of an oak, right? That's not the argument there.
Not the only oak in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and then just the high school, on the high school hill itself, there's 7 significant trees by itself. Yeah. It's the health. I'm not disputing Mr. Novak's assessment at all. Like, there's he's an expert. He knows what he's doing, and we have his assessment as well. So that's not where we're going with this.
you know, remember,
Yeah.
if this gets approved, they're placing it with two other trees. 2-inch caliber, correct? 2.5-inch caliber,
Yes.
not that diameter.
And there are 9 oak trees visible in my line of sight from my backyard.
I just think it being next to the house like that,
With branches that come
Yeah,
down.
I know. All right, and you know, certainly, I mean, believe me, we understand. We're hearing you. You know, this is one of the more difficult parts of sitting up here, is listening to how this is affecting your lives, but then also trying to weigh the code. And I still, and my personal feeling, if you had a report from that arborist that said,
But it's not about
this is a danger to the structure, this is a danger, then
it would only be.
I would say then we approve this. My personal feeling is still to have the tree remain.
What, one suggestion would be that I've thought about having, believe me, I drove by your house, I've read all the stuff, I've thought about this, I'm on the fence. My answer would be to perhaps lobby to get the code changed and then come back. In other words, have it be a little bit more deferential to the closeness. Right now, I think we talk about, it's the proximity. In other words, I swore an oath to follow the code, essentially. And if I look at this literally, like in my mind, it doesn't quite cross it. The strongest point that I felt you made, besides, you made a lot of good points, but one of them was if you were expanding your house, and if you were allowed to, by the way, if you were allowed to get that close to your property line, which I doubt you would be.
No, I'm talking about if in the back of my house, for example, if this tree existed in the back of
Right.
my house, I have plenty of land to be able to.
No, and I can see the code is more favorable if you're building a new structure. So maybe you could lobby to get the code, and the code has been changed many times in like 30 years.
But do you truly feel that's a reasonable request for a resident, that in order to preserve the safety of their home and welfare and the things that we're concerned about, that the first step I should take is to lobby? To make sure
But
that
you have two experts saying that this is not a danger to you.
No, they're saying the tree is healthy. And
Yes.
We are not arguing about the health of the tree. We are arguing about its proximity and the fact that we know that the root system is 2 to 4 times larger than the canopy of this giant tree in a physical space that does not allow for its true growth and stability, and it will take the path of the least resistance. It will hit our foundation. And to ask us to take the financial hit to now diagnose, we already have the diagnosis. We know this tree is too close. It's like having a cancer diagnosis, and then the doctor saying, by the way, why don't you do that extra MRI? And why don't you do that extra CAT scan? And why don't you do that extra X-ray in order to find out that that's really the cancer that's the problem? And now you have to pay for the treatment anyway.
But no one has said this is the problem. That's the problem we face. There is no doctor's diagnosis saying that this
We have
is.
plausible, the fact that this tree is existing from the arborist report, that the plausible cause of foundational things, but also it's space. There's a limited amount of space where it's growing, and as it stands right now, it will only get larger.
I certainly understand where you're coming from. Again, personally, unfortunately, I can't vote in favor of removal, but
I was just
This
going to
is
say,
a voting board,
once again, I reiterate, I know nothing about trees. And what you're saying to my naive brain makes sense. It would be really helpful if you had an expert who said, this is the likely outcome. All we have is you versus the experts.
But we
But it is in the report. It is in the report. I mean, the other thing is, right, this is not, the structural part is not the expertise of any arborist, if I'm understanding correctly, right? That
we need to literally, he said you need to excavate underneath, you need to take away from the sidewall, we need to find those roots, and then we need to be able to say that that root caused that damage.
Well, there is always the problem of correlation versus causation. And you may have damage, but it may not have been caused by the tree. And so you need to be able to establish that the tree itself is the cause for any damage, not simply that you have damage. I have cracks in my basement, and I have no trees anywhere near them.
Anymore.
And, those are my neighbor's trees that decided to attack my house. But all I'm saying is that,
From a common sense standpoint of the proximity between the tree, the birth of the tree, the size of it, and its location, again, we're not saying that it's in my backyard, I'm not saying that it's at the corner of the house that I'm really irritated about. There is no safe, there's nothing. This is, and I grant, this is like a whole lot of circumstantial evidence, but it's a lot of it.
So,
It says in the code.
you know, I think I'm ready to, I mean, I don't know whether everyone's ready to vote on this. My recommendation, go ahead.
You know, I,
Trustee Morley.
the other, I don't believe the trees compromising the foundation. I truly don't. I just feel the trees in an awkward place and where it's not a good spot to be, put it that way. Between the two houses like that is more dangerous than anything. Being compromising the foundation, I don't believe that's the case. But again, I am definitely in favor of having this, voting in favor of having it removed. I just think that considering that you'll be having to plant 2.5-inch caliber trees is enough, should I say, financial burden on you to do that. Besides the fact you got a cost to take it down, which is every bit of $2,000.
So, just, oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So just, you know, I guess, do we have, we will need a motion and a second on this to either approve or deny the appeal. So,
I was just, one further thought, I think what Don suggested about changing the code probably is the way to go, which is if you feel that our code no longer or doesn't adequately reflect some potential problems, it's only going to be when residents come to us and say you need to change the code. If you have a sense that your appeal is not going in the direction that you want it to go, maybe you should withdraw your application and start attacking the code. I'm just,
You would go to look at other municipalities' codes, like the city of Rye, which is very liberal, which allows you to take down, depending on the size of the property, up to 3 to 9 trees, depending on the acreage or the square footage of the property. And in turn, that amount of trees you take down, you don't have to replant. And after every year, it starts off at 0 again, which is kind of interesting. That's a very liberal tree code because there was some tree clearing that happened and one thing led to the other. But other municipalities have all different codes. You would want to research all those codes and compare and say, okay, here's 5 municipalities, these are 5 different codes, and then you go from there.
And in the meantime, you know, I would also suggest if, you know, you could also come in again with that expert opinion saying that this tree,
No one is going to do it, it's like legalese. He said, listen, I see it, I understand what you're saying, I'll put it all in the letter for you as best that I can without putting his neck out. He said it is plausible, because he can't say it is, because he's not a structural engineer.
None of them are.
None of them will do that.
Could you get a structural engineer?
How much it cost?
That's
Uh,
I mean,
This is talking about financial burden. I have to pay $3,000 a year to clean the solar panel because of the way it is. I have to pay extra in insurance because of where this tree is. I'm denied by other insurance companies because of where this tree is. I have to clean extra things. I have to, you have to not sleep. You're talking about risk with jobs. And now, in order to prove this, we've already had 2 arborists come out in and above. We've already trimmed this tree, which is a different cost, right? Part of having beautiful trees, and I understand that. And now we have to go get a structural engineer. I have to uproot pavers. I have to change the grade of the land, all because I need to prove that a very obvious tree in a very bad spot that is surrounded by gorgeous, gorgeous other significant trees within this area, 9 in my backyard. I walked around. You want to talk about making sure that the tree habitat is safe. We are supposed to have 10 of one type of tree, family, 20 of another family, 30% in the same genus, right? And walking around just my block in the neighborhood, it is overwhelmingly oak. If we got hit by a blight, we'd be in trouble. There's only supposed to be 30% of that same family because beeches and oaks. So anyway, the point is, it's overwhelming. It's all circumstantial, but there is nothing that prevents us from taking this tree down other than you guys saying it's gray, but it's really not. That was a very long answer, Brian.
Okay.
It's
We
already
had a
very
structural
expensive.
engineer for another issue of our house, and we know that that cost is exorbitant. It costs about $3,000 for us.
Yeah, we spoke to Mr. Rumpel, and I asked him, he said, you don't wanna go down that road because it's gonna get very expensive very quickly. Cause, I was considering something like that, but it's just, I don't have the, it's almost like you're at a disadvantage. You're at a disadvantage when you don't have the finances to compete.
Yeah, we can't compete with that. I can't say that. I'd love to be able to throw money at the problem, but I can't.
That's just, in my opinion, that's not fair, and we're also basically acknowledging what.
I think we need to have a motion in a second. So, David, do you want to, or Don, do you want a motion?
Okay, I'll do it. I would like to move that we deny your application.
We need a second.
I'll second it, reluctantly, but
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not thrilled about making the motion.
Wouldn't it make more sense to approve with I'm sorry tree versus deny I'm sorry family, I'm sorry structure, I'm sorry livelihood?
All right, well, we have a motion and a second.
Trustee Heiser? A motion to deny the
As I
application.
said, my first choice would be to have you help us change the code, but as things stand at this moment in time, I have to vote to deny your application.
And how would you change it?
So that's a yes.
Yes, so it'd be a yes.
Why everybody around us has more legal things?
Greg?
Trustee Crom?
yes.
Okay. Trustee Morlino?
No.
And Mayor Klein?
Yes. Sorry.
But please
Yeah,
come
please.
back here with some suggestions as to what the code should read like. You can then reapply.
How did that just happen if it's a tie?
So it won't be, it's not cost prohibitive to come up with ideas.
Three. What?
No, we got
Yeah.
it was just a misunderstanding. We got to clarify.
My baby.
We thought it was a tie. It was not.
No.
Yeah.
All right. To the next resolution, considering appeal of a tree permit removal denial at 49 Country Ridge Circle.
I'm here for the same thing. Should I speak or not?
You're in trouble.
Please, you're welcome to. Wait, we
Yeah.
first need the resolution.
Yep, I'm just going to read the
though.
resolution. Okay. Whereas Matthew Gilman of 49 Country Ridge Circle applied for a tree removal permit for one oak tree, and whereas Superintendent of Public Works and Tree Arborist Michael Nowak denied a tree removal permit for the removal of this tree, and whereas Matthew Gilman has appealed the denial in an email written on October 14th, 2025, and whereas under Section 235-14 of the Village of Rybrook Village Code, the Village Board shall hear any appeal brought in accordance with Section 235-13D within 45 days of the submission of the appeal. Now therefore be resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rybrook hereby either approves or denies the tree removal appeal conditions on the revision of the replanting plan to include an assortment of trees subject to approval by Michael Nowak as per Section 235-18A of the Village Code.
Thank you, Greg. And again, we hold off on any motion until we know which way we're going. So please.
So, hi, Matt Gilman. I have the same exact scenario. I have an oak tree that is a red oak. It's 11 feet from my house, 10 feet if you have big feet and you walk. But I have the same problem, right? Like, the tree's healthy. I had an expert that came out today and looked at it. I didn't have time to send a report in. He said there's rot that's occurring at the bottom of the tree, but generally the tree's solid, right? Like, I'm not here to say I have an unhealthy tree. I'm not here to contest the tree is unhealthy. My issue is I have a 60-foot tree that has over a 3-foot diameter that is basically 10 feet from my house, which is next to both my son's bedrooms. and that tree is in, I have a separate tree that's a maple tree that's 25 feet away from it. If that tree was next to my house and 10 feet away, I frankly wouldn't care. Doesn't have one huge trunk, it's got a lot of things coming off of it. If it fell, it caused some damage, it cost some money, but that thing's not going through my roof to cause any like bodily harm or damage. This tree is 60 feet tall, I don't know what it weighs, but if this thing comes down, it's either gonna fall on one or two power lines or both. It'll fall on the street power line, or it's gonna fall on my house or my neighbor's house. So I don't need to go too deep because I think we just talked about a similar issue. But my problem is like this tree is about somebody getting hurt, right? And it potentially worse.
So you said you had an expert come out
Yeah.
to take a look. Do you expect to have a report from that?
He sent me a letter. I have it, but he's saying what he sees is dieback. Like there are branches that are dying. There's a 6 to 8 inch branch that is dying that needs to be trimmed off.
Okay.
There is dieback occurring, but he didn't say that this tree is unhealthy and is going to die right away. He said it's in his process of a slow death that could take a very long time. He sent me a report. His biggest comment is that there's a 6 to 8 inch diameter branch that has fruiting bodies on the branch, and that's the only concern he really has, in addition to the same scenario happening at the roots. So again, he didn't say this tree is dead and needs to come out. He just said it has problems and it will take time, but if I can't get it out, all I can do is prune.
Right, because again, you heard the conversation before. If we had an expert report saying that this tree is severely in decline, I don't know the exact terminology, Michael, you know better than I do, certainly, but if we had that evidence in front of us, then it makes it an easier decision and it probably would be approved, to begin with.
Mike a question on the tree? Or?
Please, yeah.
Mike, the tree branch that he said that has mushrooms growing from it, it's a big branch. Is that something that is going to take time? Is that something that becomes an inherent risk of the entire tree? Or is this one branch
This was my
probably
center hallway after
15
the
or
tree.
20 feet long by 8 inches in diameter? I just don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. Typically, what I've seen is that once a leader, sounds like a big leader that's coming off, if that's starting to decline and decay, you probably want to get a tree crew out. You probably want to get a tree crew out there to trim that.
Right.
Good evening. Let me answer Mr. Gilman's question about the branch. So, in the upper crown, as was noted, there is some dieback. Oaks do require maintenance and periodic trimming inspections after a storm event. That's what ISA typically requires. When you have a branch that is dead and you have a fruiting body, potentially like a sapwood decay, that's an indication that that leader or that branch is actually dead, has no more viable life in it, and something's starting to decay and rot. Mushroom decay fungi are opportunistic, so they will keep multiplying on that. Okay, so that is a branch that you do want to remove, especially now you're going into the winter time and the tree's becoming dormant. Now's a good time to trim all that kind of stuff out. I should have said this earlier, and let me take a step back. When I go out and do a tree evaluation on a property, every property is judged equal. On the back of the inspection form is a standard I use. That's across the board. Taking out personal feelings, taking out emotion, taking out any favoritism, not that there is, not implying there is any, but taking out any other factors except what is on the sheet as per my training from International Society of Arboriculture. You heard 10, 20, 30. That's great as far as your species and your diversity. Mother Nature doesn't always do that. Okay? So the board and myself, what makes this difficult is running into situations where we're running into now, where we have healthy trees that persons are asking or people are asking for removal because of XYZ reasons. And, I get complaints all the time. I have a maple tree, it drops the Samaras, so it's gotta go. Is that a hardship? Is that a financial hardship? Is that so trees drop leaves, trees drop fruit, trees drop branches or twigs, I'm sorry, they're trees. Cars drive on a road, cars slide off the road, cars get into accidents. We continue to drive. And board is in charge of making policy decisions, and that's your job, and I follow those, and the board will make those considerations when the time comes, if that time were to happen, but like I mentioned earlier, 70 tree permits. Mr. Gilman received a tree permit a few months ago, right? I think 3-4 months ago, removed a number of trees. 70 were issued so far, 3. This is the third denial. It's what, like 0.5%? Okay? So when this happens, I'm struggling for a reason, because professionally, I am hitting a roadblock. Mr. Gilman knows I try to work with people, and those who have gotten a tree permit know I try to work with people. Sometimes there are situations where I just gotta take a step back and say, I'm having a hard time. This is one of those, okay? When you walk around the village, okay, the mayor mentioned he has a willow oak, XYZ feet. I will tell you right now, we have 4,300 residences in the village approximately. I will tell you probably 3,500 of those have these exact same situations. Mother Nature does not say 3 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet. Trees know no boundaries. Trees don't understand property lines. We don't know that. So, there's a statement in the bottom of my report that to enjoy trees, we must accept the level of risk. It's an unknown quote. I don't know who the author of that is. And to eliminate all risk, you must denude your property of trees, and that would be a bleak existence. And yes, we are a Tree City, USA. That is what we are, but I don't do it because I want an award or we want the sticker. I do what's right, by training and by morals, by values. Sometimes it gets hard, and that's why we have the appeal process, so the board can make the decisions, okay? And this is one of those situations where, once again, we have a mature oak tree, approximately 11 feet. I didn't measure, he measured, so let's say it's 11 feet. Yes, there are recommendations on where to plant trees if you were to plant them. Okay, Mr. Merlino, you're familiar with the tree steward program. Large trees should be 20, 30 feet away. So forth. Once again, Mother Nature does not play by those rules. But the benefits that these trees give needs to be weighed. The social factor of these trees in the neighborhood, the board needs to consider. Do we want open avenues? Do we want no trees on properties? And this is what puts us into a tough situation, okay? We have a tree that is in the location it is. It's a mature tree. It's overhanging a property, and here we are. One person may say that that's a risk. One person may say that's a financial burden, whereas another person will say, I love that tree and I'm going to maintain it. Certain tree companies take on these types of trees and maintain them. They have a science behind them. There are very well-known national chains that are very science-based. There are other chains that are maintenance. There are other chains that are just, I'm going to cut and remove, makes it hard. And this was a hard decision. These two applications are hard for me, okay? When I look at values, and we talked about other municipalities, how one may be liberal, let's take a flip side. Another municipality is very restrictive, not far from here, that would require calculations to determine the carbon dioxide benefit, that would calculate the stormwater impacts. So let me just give you an example. The carbon dioxide uptake of this tree, based on iTree tools, is 706 pounds of carbon dioxide a year. A year. The stormwater mitigation or runoff mitigation that this tree provides in its location based on when the house was built, I think in 1949 or something like that, okay, is 6,388 gallons of stormwater a year sequestered. Okay, so the numbers are real. Those are big numbers, okay? Once again, we're small municipality, tight lots. People come here for greenery, oh, I love the nature, and then here's an application because the tree is too tall. I'm sorry, as an arborist, see, I have to take certain things out of the equation. Tree is too tall. Sorry, it's within that's its DNA, all right? Okay, it's too wide. Well, that's within its DNA. Drops acorns, it's within its DNA. You know, drops the Samaras, the little helicopters on the map. That's within its DNA. You know, I have to take those feelings out of the equation. So what do I look at? Structural integrity. Okay, I look for disease. I look for insects. I look for borers. I look for structural defects. So taking aside the personal feelings, I look at it the same way. And you saw that in the previous report. That's why I had a hard time with that tree. Because my report and the arborist jived. You know, we weren't really far off. Same way here. And that's what makes it hard, and that's why we're here appealing. Ideally, yes, this tree should have been 30, 40 feet away. That would be the recommendation if it was planted as a new tree. ISA, International Society of Arboriculture, does, however, note that on a corner of a tree, 15 feet is an allowable location for a tree of this size, okay, because the roots go off on an angle. But so 15 feet is, so you're off by 4 feet. So that's basically 2 ceiling tiles as far as the difference. But that's why we're here. He has his concerns, I have my view, and the appeal process is here.
And thank you for your comments, Michael. I would say that no one up here doubts, has any lack of confidence in your abilities or doubts, where you're making these judgments from. We certainly know that, and I would also say that's the difficult part of sitting up here, listening to our neighbors. We're residents in the community. We own homes. Like I said, I've got a tree. It's 14 feet from a little under 15 feet from the side of my house, right above where I sleep. And it's 8 feet from my next door neighbors where his children sleep. And so, I certainly understand it. And I've lost sleep over that tree, although more so I lose sleep over the squirrels running back and forth in the middle of the night. But, again, I would, in your instance, you have this arborist report. I would say follow the recommendations in it. And then, maybe it's 6 months down the line, maybe it's a year down the line, maybe it's sooner than that. You can have, depending on what the arborist says in their report, you may want them to come back out. And if there may be a change of where they're saying that this tree is in heavy decline. So, but I would certainly get that leader trimmed.
Yeah, I get it.
I was just going to say, I just shared some pictures of what happened to my house in 2012. It was a neighbor's tree. They regularly had all their trees checked out. It was a perfectly healthy tree. Along comes Hurricane Sandy. The tree was, I think, 80 feet and managed to basically split my house in half. And as I said before, my late wife and I were in a hotel for 11 months before we could reoccupy our house. The entire house had to be rebuilt. I would never have guessed that this could happen. It happens. And if I were to try to get rid of every tree that was within striking distance of my house, I would have a barren backyard, and I'd basically also have to strip away a lot of trees from my neighbor because their trees hit me twice. And so I don't know what to do about this, other than the fact that I do worry whenever there are huge windstorms, especially when accompanied by rain, because that means the root ball is more likely to come out of the ground.
Look, I appreciate it. I guess my question here is more around like, we have a tree that is similar in size to what crushed your house. And if a human was there.
My wife and I were there. The story I tell is,
if you were under it, then you wouldn't be here.
the story I tell is we were in the kitchen, which was on the far side of the house from the tree. And we hear this huge noise, and there was a blackout, Hurricane Sandy. And my wife said, why don't you go check out what that noise was? And my center hallway was now a tree. And virtually every part of my house was damaged, except, amazingly, the kitchen we were sitting in. Every other room had to be repaired, just not the kitchen. If the tree had been shaped slightly differently, we would have been killed.
See, I think that's what I struggle with hearing, that you had a perfectly healthy tree, that during a storm, which we have more and more storms every year, fell on your house, and you got lucky.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to not remove a tree that's a perfectly healthy tree, that's 10 feet from my house, that my son's room is next to, and hope that when a storm comes, it doesn't go through his bedroom. So I'm supposed to hope, instead of, I'm not looking to, again, if this tree was a maple tree that was next to my house, it would cause damage. This wouldn't pummel my home. The tree that pummels your home is the same tree that's sitting next to my house. So I'm supposed to hope that when something happens that it doesn't fall, and that's what I struggle with. And if the answer is no, then the answer is no. But it doesn't
I have struggled with that since 2012, because as I say, every time there's a report of a hurricane about to happen, I worry, because my neighbor still has huge numbers of large trees. I have large number of trees. I don't know what I can do short of saying I want to take them all down.
Yeah, look, I planted 60 trees on my property. Like, I don't have an issue, like.
Yeah, I don't have
like
enough
the other
property
people,
to
like,
plant
I don't
60.
have an issue with trees, like
But,
like,
no,
I just have an
and as
issue
I
with
say, I
safety.
worry all the time when there are reports of hurricanes or even very powerful wind and rainstorms. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I should say from personal experience, I've had 2 trees fall on my house that I was living in. One when I was a kid, and then one as an adult. Actually, when my wife was a week before she gave birth.
Yeah, look,
it fell,
it's
and-
the damage, like, to me, it's not about a small tree.
No,
That's my issue,
No,
right? I'm not
and-
talking about a small tree, like, is it annoying the acorns? Yeah, it's annoying as hell. Like, they put pin drops in my car. I'm not worried about that. And we had the other meeting before that. We don't have to go through all the same stuff. Right? Like, my issue is, it's just safety. If it messes with the foundation of the home, again, it is what it is. My issue is, that is a big freaking tree, and it is right next to my house, right next to my neighbors, right next to the power lines. Like, we could trim it back, right? Like, but, you know, I'm gonna take off a huge dead, somewhat heavy thing. Like, it's just heavy branch. I just feel like I'm just waiting for something to happen.
Yeah,
hoping
and
that it
again,
doesn't.
you know, I would say, you know, listen to what the recommendation is in the arborist report. And if you have an arborist, again, has a report that says, you know, this tree is in decline and needs to come down, then you probably wouldn't even be here. So, you know, you may need to just have someone else take a look at it, or, you know. So, but again, you know, my personal viewpoint, and I think we've expressed it enough here, is that, you know, we have a code that that we have to follow. We have to listen to the experts. And in this case, our experts are saying this is a healthy tree that is not approved to come down.
And what happens if something happens? I'm just curious. Like,
That could be said for any property in Rybrook. There are trees all over.
right, but I'm one who's trying to take action, right, and try to get ahead of a problem. Like, what happens if I go by the recommended trimming and this tree falls on my house and somebody gets hurt or damage gets done? Like,
I can tell you what happened with me. As I said, it was a neighbor's tree. My insurance company covered all repairs, 100%. Neighbor was not responsible for the fact that their tree.
No, I understand, it's your, wherever it falls is responsible for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I get how
And-
that works, but like.
And I had a good insurance policy, I guess. Not that I thought about it, because as I said before, I grew up in Manhattan. I knew nothing about trees. I lived on the 14th floor of a house. I wasn't really worried about trees.
Yep.
Now I worry about trees. The solution for me, and I moved here in 1989, I guess would be move back to Manhattan. But if I'm going to stay in Rybrook, there's really no place I can be without fear of trees.
I just don't, that's okay, I just don't agree, because there's houses all over Rybrook, my old house, my house I am now, except for this one tree, that have trees surrounding everything. It's just some houses have bigger trees next to them than others. It doesn't mean the option is move to New York City or live in your house that has huge trees. So I just don't think it's fair in terms of like saying, you know, it's too extreme. So I can go to 20 people's homes that don't have massive trees towering over their house. and still be-
I live on a small block within Rybrook, and I must say the 10 houses on my block, there's not a house on the block that would be safe if trees started coming down. Every one of the houses would be destroyed.
Okay.
Trustee Crum, Trustee Morlino, anything on this application?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
you know how I feel.
Yeah.
When a tree's close to a house, I think it's not your friend, for sure. This tree is not in the between two houses. I think it's up further, more up front, correct, if I'm wrong?
It's not, if it's 10 feet off the corner in the front of my house, it's maybe 15 feet off the corner.
The other house,
of the
yeah.
other house.
Yeah, it's right there, I see it. Yes, so, you know, that tree's not, I feel is not as dangerous as the one previous application, I felt. You could probably,
Look, after sitting through that, I didn't think I was gonna come up here and get. I was gonna say,
Right,
I
rightfully
didn't
so.
my application.
Um,
We're going dinner.
but, you know, I think that you know, that's a smart thing to think about the tree code, and maybe people should get together and voice their opinion about it and see if we can be a little more liberal. Again, that tree's not as dangerous as the other one. The other one, I felt that was a little bit of a, more of a situation. This one here,
I think they did more homework than me, for sure.
they did more homework for you. That's right, they did.
I just-
And you're waiting for an arborist report? I mean,
I got one today. I mean, I'll send some pictures over to Mike just about the rod at the bottom of the tree. I don't know if it's
so,
enough to-
so he can he can withdraw this and come back next month, right?
Good. I mean, we don't have to take action on it. We don't.
Would
think
you
we
wanna do that?
Necessarily need
I
to.
think it's my best.
Yes,
bet.
option, I think it
I
is.
don't,
know
I
where
don't
this is
think.
going.
I don't think you necessarily need to withdraw it. I think we just.
You could table this.
You know, we can
we'll
table
table
it.
it,
If
yeah.
you want us to table it for
Whatever you want to
Keeps the
call it.
doors
the
open for
next
another day.
meeting is November 12th. The one after that would be November 25th.
Okay.
So if you want us to table it for 2 weeks, if you want us to table it for a month,
Okay. All right.
it's we're happy to do so, and that'll give you time potentially to get that arborist report, let Michael review it, and see where we stand.
There should be a motion to table a second, and there's no discussion on a motion to table, so.
Okay.
Okay.
I make a motion to table.
I second.
Let's move it along here.
We don't have a date though.
Do it
You could do it without date.
Yeah,
Oh, we could do it without date.
Yes.
Okay, great.
it's a tree,
Greg.
it's a tree
Yep.
permit.
I'll resubmit an appeal, essentially, if I get a report.
That's favorable, you, right.
Well,
No, just give me the report.
oh, could send you the report. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Got it.
Yeah, because your appeal's already been filed.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just info additional.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, I made a motion.
You have a second. Yeah, so we're gonna.
Seconded.
Okay.
We're gonna vote on a motion to table. And it's gonna be open-ended in terms of time-wise.
Okay.
So trustee Heiser,
Yes.
trustee Crum,
Yes.
trustee Morlino.
Yes,
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you.
thank you. All right, good luck.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And if you want to be scared, I'll show you some photos.
No, don't.
don't need any more about your tree,
I already got a window where my son.
I heard enough about your tree.
Thank you.
I've heard a lot about the tree. All right, moving along. Resolution
Jeez.
number 4. Considering the approval of an agreement with the county, not the country, the county of Westchester for a stop DWI program.
Yes. Whereas on February 14th, 2006, the Village of Rybrook first entered into an agreement with the County of Westchester for a stop DUI patrol project reimbursement contract for the 2006 calendar year. And whereas on April 26, 2011, August 23, 2016, and November 24, 2020, the Village of Rybrook entered into an extension of said agreement for 5-year periods, the most recent spanning January 1st, 2021 through December 31st of 2025. And whereas Westchester County will provide reimbursements for overtime and added patrol costs to enforce DWI/DWAI laws in the amounts not to exceed $8,400 for the year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village of Rybrook is authorized to enter into an extension of said contract for an additional 5 years from January 1st, 2026 through December 30th, 2030 at the rate of $8,400 per year, not to exceed $42,000 over the 5-year contract, subject to any modification by Village Council, and be it further resolved that the Mayor and Village Administrator are authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary and appropriate to accomplish the purposes of this resolution.
Thank you, Greg. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
This is fairly straightforward. We've had this going for a very long time. I probably could have used these services when I was driving across 287 on Friday night, given one of the drivers that I saw. But no, we're glad that we still do this and continue this program in the Village of Rybrook. Chief, did you want to say anything? No, sir. Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino?
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 5, considering the approval of an IMA between the Village of Rybrook and Westchester County for the use of its firing range facility.
Whereas the Village of Rybrook Police Department desires to enter into an agreement with Westchester County for the use of its firing range facility, and whereas Westchester County requires from any municipality requesting use of its fire range proper insurance naming Westchester County as additionally insured and a fully executed indemnification agreement, now therefore be it resolved, the Village of Rybrook Board of Trustees hereby approves the proposed intermunicipal agreement with Westchester County for the use of its firing range facility, and be it further resolved that the Mayor and Village Administrator are authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary and appropriate to accomplish the purposes of this resolution.
Thank you, Greg. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Again, fairly self-explanatory. We thank the county for allowing us the use of its facility for this important training aspect. Chief, any comments?
Hopefully you say yes.
Otherwise, we have a problem.
Then it's a
Somewhere else.
problem.
Take away all the bullets if they don't have this.
Blue Mountain in the winter probably isn't that attractive.
And this is free, right? This is gratis. They don't charge us for this, right, the county?
No.
Oh.
I'll come up and talk.
Okay.
All right, so. Good evening, everyone. So, in order for us to go and use the county facility, we supply our firearm instructors to assist the county instructors when they have the police academy in session. So we help them, they
Okay.
let us use the facility free when they're not using it. So one hand
Okay.
washes the other, pretty much.
Okay, good,
Good.
excellent.
Great. That sounds like a good arrangement. All right. Any other questions or comments from the
No.
board?
Good information.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino?
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes. Thank you. Resolution number 6, considering an extension of a stipend for the Secretary, Planning Board, Zoning Board of Appeals, and Architectural Review Board.
Whereas Secretary of Planning Board, Zoning Board of Appeals, and Architectural Review Board Tara Orlando has received a stipend of $250 per paycheck for taking on additional responsibilities in the building department due to a temporary staff shortage, and whereas this stipend was scheduled to expire when the current department vacancy is filled, and whereas the position of Office Assistant Automated Systems was filled on October 20th, 2025, and is undergoing training in the department, Now, therefore, be it resolved that the stipend of $250 per paycheck for the Secretary of Planning Board, Zoning Board of Appeals, and Architectural Review Board, Tower Orlando, be extended with an end date of November 3rd, 2025, to allow for the initial training of the newly appointed Office Assistant Automated Systems.
Thank you. Can I have a motion second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Well, we're very glad. Greg, you want to give a little background?
Sure. Absolutely. So we did have a temporary staff vacancy in the building department that was recently filled. She just started, named Amrita, just about a week ago. This is our second week now, but the village administrator and the building inspector did want to extend the stipend while Tara is spending time training her and getting her up to speed. So she's still taking on a lot of those additional responsibilities while Amrita is kind of learning the ropes of the building department.
Great, and we appreciate all that Tara has been doing, and we're very glad that we have a competent person coming into the position, and
Who's also a Rybrook resident.
who's also a Rybrook resident, and so we're this is again seeing the hire earlier today. It's and I know we've made a few appointments to the police department recently. It's great seeing people still wanting to come work in our wonderful community. And again, thank you to Tara for everything she's been doing during this time. Any other questions or comments?
Oh, welcome to Amrita, and thank you, Tara. Yeah.
Anybody else?
No.
Okay. Trustee Heiser,
Yes.
Trustee Crom,
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 7, considering an agreement between the Village of Rybrook and ClearGov for budgeting and transparency software.
Whereas the Village of Rybrook currently uses ClearGov for budgeting and transparency purposes to assist village operations, and whereas the Village of Rybrook seeks to continue utilizing ClearGov software for these services, and whereas the Village of Rybrook has received a proposal from ClearGov for a 3-year agreement effective June 1st, 2026 to May 31st, 2029, and whereas the Village of Rybrook seeks to enter into the proposed agreements with ClearGov, now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Rybrook Board of Trustees hereby approves the proposed agreement with ClearGov for budgeting and transparency purposes, and be it further resolved that the mayor and village administrator are authorized to execute all documents necessary to accomplish the purposes of this resolution.
Thank you, Craig. Can I have a motion second, please?
Motion.
Second.
All right, again, fairly straightforward. This has worked really well. It's really great for anyone in the village who wants to look at the village's budget. It's right on our website. It's really easy to use. You can look at many different aspects and see where your tax dollars are being spent. So, again, glad to have this continuing.
And I'll also add, Mayor, that this is what all the department heads, including Michael and Eric, will also use now currently when we're doing our budgeting process. So this is where they enter all requests, and this is what the village administrator and our treasurer will look at and we'll go through to kind of iron out so what each department request will be and what will be approved.
Now, I would just also add, one of my hobbies in March is to look at a lot of other villages' budgets also, and a lot of other villages use the same system. So it's helpful not only for a resident to understand our budget, but you can look at,
Yep.
Trustee Merlino was talking about looking at other villages' codes. But
Yeah, it
I
works well.
do, so this is great. It seems like a very reasonable cost, too.
Don, you have the worst hobbies.
No, and I should also say that for those of us that don't like the big printout budgets, this works really well for us in March as well.
Yes.
It's very easy to dive into and read and look through when we're looking at the budget before our budget work sessions, which will be upon us before we know it, I think.
Yes, it will be.
Don't say.
Very soon.
All right, any other questions or comments?
Nope.
Okay. Trustee Heiser,
Yes.
Trustee Crom,
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution, I lost track of numbers. Here we go. Resolution number 8, considering declaring a 2014 Elgin Pelican sweeper as surplus and accepting trade-in value.
Whereas the Village of Rybrook has a 2014 Elegant Pelican sweeper that has reached the end of its service life, that is of no longer of functional value or use to the village, although it still has some limited value. And now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Rybrook Board of Trustees declares the vehicle listed below as surplus, with these items to be published in the official paper of the village and sold to the highest qualified bidder through an approved electronic bidding process, Auction International, which is again 2014 Elegant Pelican sweeper. Be it further resolved that if no bids are received for a particular item, that the items may be disposed of through appropriate means, and further resolved that the Village of Rybrook Board of Trustees approves the trade-in value of the 2014 Elegant Pelican sweeper at $10,400, and be it further resolved that the mayor and the village administrator are authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of this resolution.
Thank you, Greg, and before I ask for a motion, I see some comments, I just want to make sure that we.
Not auction.
Not auctioned off.
Auction, okay, we'll correct that then for resolution.
Thank you.
Yeah, so a few amendments, the auction, to the
Question, you're running away.
to the resolution, just making sure it all says 2014, and then, sorry, go ahead, Michael.
No, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No,
No, you
did
did not.
We asked you.
It's not-
The Elgin sweeper is a 2014 unit,
Yeah.
reaching the end of its useful life. We were awarded a grant. However, one clarification is that this sweeper is being traded in to the vendor supplying the new sweeper under Sourcewell contract, which permits trade-in. So it's not being auctioned off through Auctions International.
Understood.
So just be aware of that.
Right, and it's not, right, it's not Auction International, and it's not, well, it is surplus, it's
Right,
being
this
designated as surplus,
This
and
resolution
then,
is to designate the unit as surplus,
right,
and then under Sourcewell, it is being
Traded in.
traded in, so the board would be accepting the trade-in value of the unit to Sourcewell.
okay.
Yeah, so the part of the resolution that reads, now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees declares the vehicle listed below as surplus is all that's going to read there. I
Right,
believe
not-
the rest of that paragraph gets deleted.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, it's not, that's right, it's not being posted, it's not being, right. Good catch, Michael, thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, can I get a motion and second as amended?
Motion. Second.
You guys keep doing that.
It's okay.
Can I ask a question? When are we getting the new sweeper?
That was my
There
question.
are 2 sweepers on the line right now, so within a month.
Do,
There we go.
Not
And,
gonna go into service until the springtime.
I was just gonna ask you that
And that's
question.
soon enough for all our requirements?
BMS4.
Okay, yeah.
And we would also say thank you to New York State DEC for awarding us a grant
Wow.
to purchase a new sweeper,
Wow, yes.
which clearly we very badly needed.
Yes, this was a $325,000 grant
Yes.
from DEC. So it covered about 80% of this vehicle. So thank you to DEC.
Thank you.
So, Michael, quick question on this new sweeper. The other one was, what, 11 years old?
Correct.
Probably antiquated system, probably. What does this new one have, the features?
So the Elgin.
Is it gonna be an Elgin again, you think? Oh, okay.
Is a Bucher. It's,
Mhm.
comes a European brand, which is sold in the U.S. It is a regenerative air unit that meets air quality requirements.
Okay.
It has a
Clean.
vacuum attachment for cleaning out catch basins. It
Oh,
has a stainless steel body, so with regards to longevity and rust, we eliminate the steel component.
mhm.
Our sweeper currently is not antiquated, just understand it is an abused piece of equipment.
Mhm.
Picks up debris, rocks, garbage, debris, they take a beating. So 10 years, 12 years is about your useful life on a piece of equipment like this.
So
Our
the,
machine requires
the,
thousands in repairs right now.
the attachment you have for the storm drain cleaning is kind of a neat feature, I guess, because you have another truck that does that, right?
That does jetting.
Does a jetting, well, actually, you sub that out, right?
Have a vector.
That's right, the we hire a company to come do it. So this is something, like some routine, it can do small stuff, right?
Need something, we could do it.
Small stuff, yeah. It's not made to be doing all the whole village,
Not designed for that.
right, because it can't have the capacity.
Basins in a storm situation.
Sin-
we have
yeah.
Hurricane Sandy.
Coming up and you need to get out and clean, yeah. That's good. Great. I like it.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, Greg?
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Merlino?
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 9, considering reallocation of capital project funds and closing of capital projects. Now, let's see if you can paraphrase this the way that Chris does.
I will try my best, but, no. All right. Now,
Not that quick.
not,
I read it.
Now therefore be it resolved that the following transfer between capital projects is hereby approved. So Michael is going out to buy a new mechanic service truck. We have some extra funds we can take from the police vehicles line and we can transfer it so Michael can cover some of the balance, which is $1,950 to buy his new mechanic service truck. Be it further resolved that the following capital project be restated as follows. Basically reiterating what I just said. It's just to make up some of the balance of a mechanic service truck. Further resolved that the following capital projects be closed and any remaining balances be returned to general fund. So these are capital projects that pretty much are finished and are closing amounts, and any additional funds, which is the amount of $655.25, is going back to general. All these projects have been completed. And be it further resolved that the following capital project be closed and remaining balance be returned to Recreation Trust Fund. Another project to do the tennis courts, and the project is also closed, and additional funds of $3,400 that are left over will be turned to a Recreation Trust Fund.
Thank you, Greg. Can I have a motion second, please?
So moved.
Second.
So that was well paraphrased, and I like that and I think it should be explained that some of these were simply just closing out. 2 projects have a balance of 0.
Yeah.
And one has, my favorite is we're actually transferring 60 cents. So I wonder how much it actually costs us to transfer that 60 cents.
Yes, but if you were a bookkeeper, you'd
Oh,
go
it's-
crazy if that 60 cents were missing.
Oh, yes. No, I know. And again, thank you to Trish for everything she does, and Lawrence, and just keeping these books so tight and so clean that every year it makes it very easy when we have our audit and our stress indicators that it's everything comes out squeaky clean, and we really appreciate all the work that goes into that. Which includes
I was
these.
gonna say, have you ever tried to balance your checkbook and find that you're 60 cents off? You go crazy.
I go crazy,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
No.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino?
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Oh my goodness, I just hit the wrong button. Okay, here we go. All right. Resolution number 10, considering approval of the minutes for the meeting held on August 19th, 2025.
Now therefore be resolved that the Village of Rybrook Board of Trustees approves the minutes for the meeting held on August 19th, 2025.
Thank you, Greg. Can I have a motion and second, please?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Opposed? All right. Administrator's report.
So we want to mention some events that we've had and that will be coming up. We've had a very busy October, a lot of fun events. But since our last meeting, we had 2 events that have already passed, but just wanted to mention them briefly. Started the fall cleanup. We had a really good turnout for that. So that's something that we do every year on Bowman Avenue. We close off that section because it's a road that always gets a lot of garbage for one reason or another. But we had help also from the Portchester Key Club, I want to thank, as well as the Rhinebeck Girl Scouts, and also from our very own mayor of the Village of Rybrook and his son Elliot. So thank you, Mayor, for your assistance as well. Because I'm always whoever's in my position, whether it be my predecessor or myself, is the captain for that site because it's a Town of Rye event sponsored. That's the municipalities of Portchester, Rybrook, and Rye City, and typically also Rhinebeck participate, but this year Rhinebeck and Rye City did not. But that was very successful. We got a lot of bags of garbage. I was very happy with that. We just had Halloween in the park this past Saturday. We had about 31 dogs participating. It's always a fun event. Seeing all the dogs in costumes. Some of them are very creative. I know our police chief was the one giving out all the awards that our judges, which was 2 of our firefighters. He gave out, so that was always a blast and a good turnout. We had 2 dogs. I don't know the status of it, but I know 2 dogs from Humane Society that were up for adoption were also at the events. That same afternoon, the PTA had their Fall Fest. I personally attended just to stop by and support it. They had a very good turnout themselves, so congrats to them on another successful event. I know we are, myself and the recreation departments, we're trying to establish a better working relationship with them so we can kind of collaborate on, current events, including one which is tomorrow, which I'll get into in a minute, and any future events that we can kind of work together because they have a strong following, and so do we, and we feel that can be a good productive relationship going forward. And so trunk or treats, which is going to be tomorrow. And we have 11 cars participating between village departments as well as some community groups, which is like Kiwanis, the Cub Scouts, and the PTA themselves. And this is the third year in a row we're doing it. It's going to be tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m. And all the different cars that are vehicles that are participating, where it's a friendly competition. And we're going to need the help from the public because we rely on the public and the residents of Rybrook to come out and vote on who's the best one. And whoever wins, typically you get a bragging right. And when we have our Thanksgiving luncheon, whoever wins, that team usually gets to go first to get the food. But it's going to be a great time. And then you're going to please come out. There'll be plenty of candy. There'll be a lot of work that will go into the cars. And I'm sure the residents, just like the last couple of years, will be very happy with the vehicles that we have out and with the candy that they'll get. And again, that's tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m. It's a quick hour, but the first year we did it during the day. Last year we did it within the 6-7 time period and worked out very well. So we're confident, we're hopeful at least for another successful event for a trunk or treat. Saturday, November 8th, we have our pumpkin smash. So all the pumpkins that even we sold here at Village Hall, definitely hang on to them, because it'll be the second year in a row we've done this, where we come to Pine Ridge Park and we can do one of two things. Either our highway guys devised a really cool system where they have a bit of a harness and our residents can come smash up against the wall, or we have one of our highway laborers get in the bucket truck and drop the pumpkins on, and as they see and watch them smash. And the guys do take the seeds and we compost them at our site, so it's also an eco-friendly event that the Sustainability Committee is also supporting. But again, please don't throw away your pumpkins. This is a good way to get rid of them without them ending up in the garbage. And last thing happened now is I just want to remind everybody that early voting is occurring right now, and there are 25 designated early voting sites within Westchester County. One of them is right across the street from us, or it's right next to us here at the Rybrook Firehouse at 940 King Street. And that started last Saturday, and it'll go on to this Sunday. Again, you can vote. If you live in Westchester County, you can, which everybody, of course, in Rybrook does, you can vote at any of the approved 25 sites. But again, we do have one right here at the firehouse. But come Tuesday, November 4th, which is General Election Day, that you must vote at your regular polling site when polls are over from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. If you are going to use early voting, though, just make sure. I posted it within the residents page and our Facebook page from the county website, because the times when it is open, it varies depending on the day. I know on weekends it's 10 to 6. During the week, sometimes it starts at, today it started at 12. Other times it starts at 10. So just be mindful of that, just so when you don't come here and make a wasted trip. And just for this year, it's all local races from our county executive race, county legislatives, town races. So nothing for the village, but again, it's still important to come out and vote for the elected official positions that are on the ballot for this year. That's it for me.
All right. Thank you. Any questions or comments from the public?
I have some new business. If there's, you're gonna get to that yet? I have something to say about new business.
New business.
I have new business.
You have new business to discuss?
Yes.
All right. Typically, we ask for these to be submitted prior, but go ahead.
This is nothing good. I just wanted to remind everybody about the speed limits around the schools, which is 15 miles an hour. And around the village, I believe it is 30 miles an hour, correct? We do have monitors up, and they do monitor the speeds, and I want everybody to be conscious that we do get reports of the speeds in the village, and we've been seeing higher speeds than normal, and I think several states are strictly enforcing school speed limits, and I want everybody to be aware that it's just a question of time before the village gets out there and sets up some speed and radar traps and gives everybody tickets. So these warnings are good just to let you know it's coming. Chief, quick question. Do we have radar equipment? I'm sure we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Up to date? All right, good. So I just want everybody to be conscious of that because being on the traffic commission, it's been brought up every meeting, very forcefully. So just to let the public know. Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate that, Trustee Morlino, and I wouldn't necessarily call that new business because nothing that we have to consider or vote on.
No.
But I would second Trustee Morlino's point there of, we are a family-friendly community. There are a lot of people walking around the village, kids playing on the side streets. We have school zones. We have schools in the village, and not just the Blindbrook schools, the Portchester schools as well. We have, 4 schools that are. Is it only 4? I think there's only 4
There's
schools.
3, right?
No, the middle school, the high school for Portchester, and the elementary school and the high school.
Oh, that's right.
For
Yeah.
Blindbrook.
Right.
I was concerned if there's any more.
One's on the same campus.
Okay, one's on the same campus. So we have 4 school campuses, and I would just remind everyone to please take it easy, take it slow, take it safe. Keep your neighbors safe, please.
One thing for me, I'd just like to offer my thoughts and prayers to the people on the island of Jamaica.
Yes.
No, gonna get hit now.
Yeah, thank
it
you for that.
through?
I've been watching that, and the maximum winds, the sustained wind speeds when it made landfall were 185 miles an hour, and they've gotten over 30 inches of rain.
Wow.
I don't want to imagine what it's like there, and yeah.
I have that topic that I talked to you about, too.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Any other questions or comments?
No, let's go
Seeing
home.
none, the next meeting.
No, I had one.
Oh, yeah, you
Remember?
do have one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which I cleared. I just want to talk about, we, at earlier meetings, and in the budget process, approved a lot of road work, which is something that we do every year. And I'm talking to the highway department here, Michael. But this is sort of the rest of the story. I just want to say that I drove around the village and I looked at the various work areas and what's been completed. And I just want to say congratulations to the highway department and our contractor that was selected through a bid process. And I want to say that, there's a lot of work and recognize everybody, putting together the specs, running the bidding process, doing an extensive amount of due diligence on the low bidding contractor who didn't have the word paving in his name, and we had not, I think, used before. But so the due diligence was an important part of the process. Then our own crews went out and revised storm drains to get ready to make sure they were at the proper elevation in the paving zones. Did a good job on that, I believe, in the summer. And then when the paving started, we had, my understanding is we had inspectors go out and make sure all the work was being done according to spec. So just a big thank you to everybody. And I wanted to say, besides just the process, I have to compliment the results. What I had witnessed is incredibly smooth, dense pavement, great matching of elevations all the way along, in terms of the proper elevations along the curbing, an incredible matchup to where it hits existing pavements. It's just so smooth. There's no bumps, and also, I know this is getting into the super detail, but also just attention to detail in terms of putting a good seal between the old pavement and the new pavement to make sure the water doesn't get in there. So if you happen to drive on any roads, which I have, also a thank you to, I don't know whether it was Connecticut or Greenwich that did a nice job also paving part of a big section of King Street.
Yeah, it's nice.
Also to the county for doing, again, a very nice job in front of the Rye Ridge Plaza.
Southwood Street.
But also, and just say we were talking about budgets, this is not an insignificant expense. This is one of our biggest line items. So the fact that it was executed so well, just a big thank you to everybody in the highway department that made that happen. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all they've done. And they're also, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but we also have inspectors at the asphalt plant, making sure that what's coming out of the plant is what we're paying for.
Wow.
So,
Does it get that crazy?
Oh,
because it really does make a difference. I mean,
It makes a difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. So, yeah, thank you to all involved, and well said. Although I'd also thank New York State for 287, because that's looking great right now also.
Hey, they're grooving that. I saw they put grooves in the highway now, right?
Yeah, I don't know what they
What is
did.
that? Is that they groove in the
But
highway?
it's really smooth right now.
What is that all
That's
about?
all I know, and I'm getting
Oh,
better
yeah.
gas mileage, I think.
Explain that.
Okay, we're
Explain
doing
the grooving
comments on
to me.
287.
okay.
Is that for
All
like,
right. You open the
so
can
your
of
cars
worms.
don't hydroplane?
So, thank you for the compliment. It's appreciated. Highway does a great job. They work hard. They get out of their comfort zone sometimes to try to do other things. This was one of them. Mill and pave is one of our tools that we use in the toolbox. I know it's getting late. We use other things to stretch the budget. Doesn't mean someone's getting a better job, worse job. We do pavement with preservation. We do other things, okay? To answer your question about 287, and this is something that's gonna come down in our toolbox.
Okay.
New York State DOT on 287, or the Thruway Authority, I should say, is using a polymer modified mix. It is a super thin overlay. It's called a 13 millimeter, and the screed that placed it had an adapter for the lines. I don't know specifically why that was spec'd out. I'm looking into it. But it is a very thin overlay. It's only maybe half an inch thick.
Right, so it probably won't last that long.
It's no.
It's a composite of
It's
materials?
Additional polymers
Yeah.
that have pretty much the same lifespan. But there are other factors that warrant where you use that.
Right.
Once again, pavement preservation, using the right fix for the right
App-
place.
yeah,
They had
man.
a good base, they had a good material to put it on, they used the right fix. That's things that we do here in the village as well, to stretch our money and to do the right fix in the right place.
Yeah, and absolutely, and that's been noticeable. I mean, and this really, for those who aren't aware, it's really been within the last 7 years, 8 years, that we started really altering the way it used to be that it was just mill and pave. It was things would get to a certain point and then you mill and pave.
Correct.
But, this really, and also for those who don't know, we're talking about excess of $500,000 a year that the village is spending on on road maintenance.
Correct. So
And-
just to put into perspective, $500,000 got almost, and I have to check my numbers, just about a mile, just over a mile in mill and pave. Whereas a few years ago, we performed another technique and got almost 4.5 miles of pavement restored to almost a similar condition. Maybe not perfect, but a similar condition. So once again, right fix, right place, we work our numbers, we try to stretch the dollar as much as we can.
And you have
We could
a
talk about
program that monitors or that takes photos of the pavement, right, or something? How's that working out?
Getting into.
Just real quick, I know.
Again here.
Getting in the weeds.
I think we were
Yes,
about to end.
And I'm gonna end on this, we're gonna end on this. Yes, the village has, utilized or is utilizing currently new AI-based technology and
Right.
software to reevaluate our roads. We just did that recently, and the data is starting to come in, and we're evaluating it. We're working out some kinks, and when the time is right, we will roll it out and speak to the board and the public about it.
Oh, okay,
There are
good.
some kinks we have to work
Oh,
out.
okay,
though.
you're still using it, you're trying it out. Okay, good.
It's a learning curve. There are some things we have to work out.
Okay.
Some kinks in there.
Alright.
It's, yes.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
great.
We appreciate all of that.
Thank you,
All
Michael.
right. And again, seeing no comments from the public, the next meetings of the Board of Trustees will be on November 12th. Please note the change of date because we would typically meet on the second Tuesday, which is Veterans Day.
Right.
We will not be meeting then, November 12th, and then November 25th, 2025. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Good job,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
Yeah, great job,
Yeah,
Greg.
good job, Greg.
Good job.